Thank you for listening to BizPod with me, Paul.
And me, Rachel.
Our weekly business English podcast where we talk about the news, social media, and hot topics from a business point of view. You'll get a podcast and links to the articles we discuss. This way you can share your thoughts too. Join us as we discuss what's on our minds this week. So welcome back. We're still suffering with a little bit of what I'm calling a COVID hangover.
COVID hangover? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very croaky.
Yeah, especially in the morning. Thankfully, it's mid-morning now, but first thing in the morning, we sound croaky.
Terrible.
We sound terrible.
At the end of the day, we sound
terrible. Yeah.
So we're trying to get the sweet spot where we don't sound too bad.
Yeah, which is sort of mid-morning, just after a coffee.
Yeah.
It's the perfect time for recording.
Yeah.
But we do have an interesting story from the news this week, all about Google and what was a 2 undecillion ruble fine.
Yeah.
Okay, now an undecillion has how many zeros?
36.
Wow, so it's a 1 with 36 zeros.
No, it's a 2.
Oh,
it's 2 undecillion.
Wow, okay. So I think that's quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Apparently, it's more money than exists in the entire world.
Yeah. It's crazy. So it's obviously it's an impossible amount of money for anybody to pay as a fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Google apparently is worth, as we're speaking, about $2 trillion. Okay.
But the world's total GDP is estimated by the International Monetary Fund to be 110 trillion.
Yeah.
So this 2 undecillion, which I'd never even heard of that word.
Never.
Yeah, it's never going to get paid, is it?
Of course it's not. It's more money than exists. It's more wealth than exists in the entire world. Yeah. But so let's just get this right. So a trillion is a 1 with 9 zeros.
I'll be honest.
1 trillion.
I don't know, but I'll tell you when I earn it.
Okay, yeah. When you've got a spare trillion, yeah.
I'll start counting the zeros then.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so a million is 6 zeros. A billion is 9 zeros. So a trillion will be 12 zeros.
I don't know. Well, isn't there a difference between a British million and billion and trillion and an American?
Yeah, only in the sense that the currencies differ. So
no, I thought it was in the number of zeros, the way they count it, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know there are some differences between British and American English, but a million, billion, a trillion, it's math.
Ring Elon, ask him.
Next time we're round at Elon's, we'll ask him, how many zeros is a trillion?
Can you show us?
He should. He'll say, yes, look, here is all my money. And I'll say, wow.
Oh dear, I can't even think about it.
No, I mean we're talking crazy money. But anyway, so Google has been fined by Russia this immense amount of money.
Well, no, they weren't fined that amount. The fine, because of interest accruing, has reached that amount.
Okay,
that wasn't what they originally fined.
Well, can you imagine what the interest rate on that fine must have been then for it to reach?
I don't know.
A gargantuan amount of money.
Yeah, that's a good word. Gargantuan.
Yeah. It's better than undecillion,
yeah,
isn't it? Because I think if we say undecillion, nobody will know what that word means.
No, it sounds like undecided. It sounds very vague, whereas gargantuan, big monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they were fined a smaller amount of money, which Google obviously didn't pay.
Yeah.
So the interest on the fine and probably penalties have made it grow to such a huge, gargantuan amount of money that it's impossible for anyone to pay. So what would you do in that situation? If you owe...
Cry.
You would cry. Okay. I don't think anyone at Google is crying over this.
I don't think they care, do they?
Well, I mean, I think the fine from Russia, from Moscow, it was a political decision because something to do with Google limiting
news outlets,
Russian news outlets out to on YouTube.
And supporting illegal protest activity. I mean, it's just tit for tat, isn't it? One person says this, one person says the other. Russia wants to control the message, you know.
And YouTube and Google are trying to sort of, allow sort of freedom of speech in that. It's a difficult situation.
It is.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into the politics of it because that's not our position.
No.
But we're just like amazed at the amount of money.
Yeah.
I tell you what, originally it was £301 million, so 21.1 billion rubles.
Right.
Okay, that was the original amount. So but since July 2022...
So in just over 2 years,
Wow.
the interest and fines for not paying that fine
Yeah.
has... Well, the interest rate on that... I wish our bank paid us that interest rate.
Oh, dear.
I mean, what was the interest rate on that? The interest rate that they're charging must be in the tens of thousands of percent.
If somebody owes you money, the
Yeah.
interest rate is always going to be higher than if you're saving money.
Yeah, of course it will be, yeah. But it's a crazy amount of interest that they're charging and fines.
Yeah.
Fines piled on fines on fines on fines.
Well, what do you think about the effectiveness of fines? I mean, let's use Brinkley, our dog, as an example, okay?
Okay.
Now, we sort of joke that when we go out shopping, he likes to play poker. He used to like to play poker with our old dog,
Yeah.
and she would always win, and his fine would always had to be paid in carrots.
But it's not a fine, it was just money he lost.
Okay.
At playing poker.
All right, but he continually lost. He continually grew a debt of carrots. She
Yeah.
died, and he still owes carrots.
Yeah,
We
so he has a
always
debt.
joke, yeah.
He has a debt to pay off.
He's got a carrot mountain debt.
Yeah, which
Okay.
he will never be able to pay off.
No, mostly because he usually eats the carrots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but I mean, when you build up a debt or you have a fine or something like that to pay, I mean, does it stop you? Does it stop Brinkley playing poker?
No, of course it doesn't.
Does it prevent you doing? I mean, is it an effective way to penalise people?
Well, I don't know. A debt is something that you sort of build up. Maybe in business or in your personal life, you have a debt. You use your credit card a bit too much.
You spend more than you earn.
You spend more than you earn.
Yeah,
You borrow money.
So your outgoings exceed your incomings.
Whereas so debt and being fined something, I think, are different things.
Yeah.
I think it depends not necessarily on the fine or what you're being fined for. The ability for whoever is fining you to enforce the fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, for example, if you're driving your car a bit too fast,
Yeah.
anywhere in Europe,
And you exceed the speed limit.
you exceed the speed
Yeah.
limit and you pass one of those cameras.
Yeah.
Okay. Those authorities
Yeah.
generally have the ability to enforce a fine on you.
But they also enforce points on your license. I think the points is
worse.
more, because if you accrue those points and lose your license and you can't drive,
Yeah.
I think that is much more effective than any monetary amount.
Yeah, I agree with you. But they have that ability to...
It's an extra source of income for them, isn't it?
Of
Because
course
they
it
do
is.
both. They do the points and the fine.
Yeah, but they have the ability to enforce it.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, for example, let's say if somebody comes onto our land, into our house, and I don't know, just accidentally breaks a piece of our property. Okay, we don't really have any ability to enforce that person to repay us.
No, but I'd make them feel really, really guilty.
Of course you would, yeah. But we couldn't present that person. Say, okay, you broke that that glass,
Ming vase.
that Ming vase,
yeah.
because we have Ming vases everywhere. Okay. So you came, you were drinking a cup of coffee. You dropped that coffee cup on the floor.
Yeah.
You owe me €5 for that coffee cup.
Yeah.
We don't buy expensive coffee cups. So, but we have no way to enforce it, do we? Because we're not an authority.
Yeah.
So, us saying to that person, you owe me €5 because you dropped that coffee cup, is completely a waste of time because we cannot enforce that penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas governments, because of the authority they have the ability to enforce a fine or penalty. They can come in to our property and
Take goods to the value of.
or they can contact our bank and say we're taking their money. Yeah, we can't do that.
No.
Yeah. So in this case, what do you think about this Google fine? I mean, how can Moscow enforce it?
Well, I thought it was interesting where it says that the local Google within Russia has actually declared bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether that was a tactical thing to stop them taking the money. The local subsidiary was declared bankrupt and the company has stopped offering its commercial services in Russia. And I just wonder whether that was a way to, well, you can't take something if there's nothing there.
Yeah.
But then they were never going to get that amount of money anyway. It's crazy.
And it's also, does Google actually have any assets in Russia
and also with
that
it
can
being
be confiscated?
Digital, technological, it's all online. There's nothing tangible. There aren't any Ming vases.
No, but that's what I mean. There are Google does have tangible things like a data center.
Yeah.
For example. So I'm saying if there's a data center within the Russian territory, then the Russian government would use their authority to take ownership and control of that data center.
Yeah, but my point is they're talking about something, the actual, what Google does.
Yeah.
That's the storage thing.
Yeah.
But the majority of Google is online.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's online, but you kind of think this cloud is this magical thing in the sky that doesn't have a physical presence.
No, it's got a storage space. I understand that, but I'm saying Google is not just about physics. Companies, Amazon is all about the physical. Yes, they've got a website where you order stuff, but they deliver physical products to you.
Okay.
Yeah, don't they? Google is a mixture of physical for the storage and intangible.
I know, I understand what you're saying, but all of those intangible things that you're describing are stored in a physical presence.
Yeah, I understand that. But how can you put the worth or a value on something that's intangible? You can put some value and worth on the storage point, but not on the product or something that is stored there.
No, but that's that's the point I was making to you, that say the Russian government's only possibility of enforcing this kind of fine is if there is a physical presence of Google within their territory. If there is a data center.
I understand that, but my point, which you're not getting, is how can you put the value on something that is intangible?
I'd ask Google. Ask Google, ask Facebook.
Well, Google in this light might say it's only worth $1.
But if it's but Google can say, it's only worth $1, but if the government of a country says, well, it's only worth $1, we're taking it from you anyway, Google still loses.
But how can you take it when you can't touch it?
You can't. But that's what I was saying to you. The only way it can be enforced, because Google is this digital service, is if there is a physical presence.
I understand that. I understand. I just wanted to get from you that you understood my point too.
I kind of understand your point.
No, this everybody. This is where Paul is always right.
Yeah, it is. I am always right.
Yeah,
in fact,
sometimes, he thought he was wrong, but he actually found out he was right.
Hang on, let's get the quote. Let's make sure the quote is correct.
Okay, he's actually got a poster of this in his office.
Okay, and the poster reads, "To save time, let's just assume I'm right. In fact, I'm always right. One time I thought I was wrong, but actually I found out I was right."
Yeah. And who said that?
I'm not sure. Well, me.
It was that rock and roll singer. The guy who used to play the piano, who married one of his cousins who was 13.
Oh, was that Jerry Lee Lewis?
There you go.
Really? Is that a Jerry Lee Lewis quote?
Apparently, yeah, it's a Jerry Lee Lewis quote.
Okay, well done, Jerry Lee Lewis, for always being right.
Okay, well, I think because our voices are getting worse, and we're going to have to, what is it they say on The Rest is Politics, to disagree agreeably?
Yeah, we'll disagree agreeably. But I'm right.
Okay, fair enough.
As long as we both agree that I'm right.
Yeah, whatever, Paul.
Okay.
Keep the peace. Okay, right. Forever Coffee Fit. Speak to you next week.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope you liked our podcast, and please don't forget to subscribe and stay connected with us. Until next time, goodbye.